Happening now on Grid Tonight. Noah Gragson is suspended indefinitely from NASCAR competition. What's next for the Cup Series rookie? And what's been a challenging first full-time campaign in the Premier Series? Formula E silly season is just getting started. Will Nick Cassidy and Mitch Evans be the most powerful duo on the grid in Season 10 with Jaguar? The 2024 IMSA schedule is here. Could several conflicting events spread resources thin for some of the manufacturers? Hello to all our viewers here in the United States and around the world. Welcome to Grid Tonight, your weekly motorsports news program. I'm Kobe Lambert from the Podium Finish. With me is Joshua Birch, Jonathan Fiel from the Racing Experts, and Matt White from Grid Endurance Performance Index. We encourage everyone to comment in the chat below and ask any questions you may have. Now, Josh, take it away with our top story this evening.
Thank you, Kobe. Hello, everybody. So on Saturday morning, Legacy Motorsport Club released a statement stating that they were suspending Noah Gragson effective immediately for actions that don't represent the values of the organization after the rookie driver liked an insensitive social media post. They replaced him with Josh Berry in the number 42 Chevrolet at Michigan. A short while after this announcement, NASCAR took action themselves. NASCAR fully supports Legacy Motorsport Club's decision to suspend Noah Gragson. Following his actions on social media, NASCAR has determined that Gragson has violated the member conduct section of the 2023 NASCAR rulebook and has placed himself under indefinite suspension. Now, yesterday, of course, as well, Jordan Bianchi from The Athletic, a well-respected reporter, wrote an exclusive saying Legacy Motorsport Club and Gragson were preparing to part ways. This is when several conflicting reports began to emerge about Bianchi's scoop. Now, other NASCAR reporters reached out to Legacy Motorsport Club about their own sources, who told them that the report about the team parting ways with Gragson is false. Our own Jonathan Field, who's going to join us on the show tonight, hello, Jonathan, went to work himself to uncover the truth. He was told they were continuing to work with Gragson and his representatives through this process, and the photo they're taken by Jonathan Bachman as well from Getty Images. So, Jonathan, what else are you able to share about this developing story? Welcome back to the program.
Thank you very much, Joshua. I love hearing your voice a lot. And so it's great to be back. And, just talking about the whole thing with Noah Gragson, reached out to Legacy Motor Club, basically just saying, hey, we've heard these conflicting reports, things going on. What can you tell us? And basically what they told me is that Gragson, they're continuing to work with, him and his representation, just like you said, and NASCAR, has to work to determine a timeline to bring him back. For now, they're working with him. They haven't released him. They're trying to figure out what drivers are going to have in the interim, including Mike Rockefeller. So not let go at this time, but certainly when you have a situation as, frankly, messy as this whole thing has been, I mean, a team never wants to deal with something like this. It doesn't look good for Gragson, but not parting ways with the team yet.
Yes, Gragson is a driver who isn't a stranger, of course, to controversy. Entering the Cup Series full-time this year, Gragson has been a polarizing figure for his antics on and off the track. Now he finds himself in trouble again, this time in a more serious situation after liking a George Floyd under the knee meme on Instagram. And believe me when I say that, it's in the quotation marks as well. You can see here Noah Gragson's statement saying, "I'm deeply disappointed in myself for my lack of attention and actions on social media. I understand the severity of this situation. I love and appreciate everybody. I try to treat everybody equally, no matter who they are. I messed up, plain and simple." Everyone here at the Grid Network team as well is against racism as well. It has no part in our sport as well. And guys, do you think Gragson will be able to bounce back from this incident, or could his past troubles, including a miserable performance this year, make him undesirable to a future employee?
Well, first of all, good evening, guys.
Good evening.
Echo your thoughts, Josh. Not welcome in sport, not welcome in society, frankly. It's 2023. We're well past that. What a tumultuous year it's been for Gragson as a calendar year, let alone this part of the season. Of course, we talked about it at length last year, the Road America incident with him and Sage Karam, which got him into a lot of hot water last summer. Bounced back from that, got his cup ride. You thought, right, now he can grow up a little bit and focus on driving the car and getting results, especially in a rookie year with this, newish car as well. He needs to knuckle down and get on with it. And he's going to go out. If this is the end of his cup career as a finality, maybe he'll come back down the road. Who knows? But if he goes out of the Cup Series, now he's going to be remembered for not running very well, having a brake failure at Gateway, and being punched in the face by Ross Chastain while having a stupid haircut. But this is Noah Gragson. How he was sitting wherever he was sitting, scrolling through whatever social media feed that appeared on. I think it was Instagram, wasn't it? That it popped up on, and he went, yeah, I'm gonna like that. What a stupid thing to do. When everything everyone does now on social media is tracked, you can see who's liked what when, retweets, reposts, shares, active, inactive, whatever else, appearing online or appearing offline. Everything is tracked, and just he won't learn. He hasn't learned, and I guess he's not going to learn. Good evening, Mr. Owens. There's always been one word that is best described Noah Gragson: immature. Nothing has changed. I think we can all pretty much agree on that one. As you said, Rocky is in this weekend. Got the call from Jimmy Johnson. Of course, they shared the car at Le Mans not so long ago. I would expect Rockenfeller to probably keep the ride at Watkins Glen, which is next weekend, a track he has prior knowledge of in the car, because he ran there last year, didn't he? As part of the build-up to the Le Mans run. So I should expect to see Mike Rockenfeller in the car again next week. And as I brought up a point while we were chatting in the rain delay at Michigan on USRN on Sunday, Josh Berry super sub, what are the Chevrolet teams going to do when Josh Berry's in a full-time ride next season?
I know.
Who will they turn to fill in? Because this is the third or fourth person he's filled in for now this season. So what are they going to do about Josh next year? Who knows? But for Noah, I think he's pretty much done.
Step right up, Justin Allgaier.
I was about to say that,
Yeah.
Josh Berry's secretly going around all the Chevrolet cars so that when he switches over, it's like, guys, come close. This is what we need to do. It's all like that. He's just going straight down, copying everything. It's brilliant.
And as Ben put there, Legacy Motor Club also did confirm that he will be in for the Glen. So, what a great driver they have behind the wheel, And I guess I'll jump in here. My mom told me when I was about 12 years old, which is about half a life ago, about 12 years ago. You can figure out my age from there. But anyways, whatever you put on social media, whatever you post on social media, whatever you react to on social media, that goes out there for everybody to see, and it lasts. And she was telling me that 12 years ago when we weren't in this very hyper internet society that we're in today. And, you mess up, you make a mistake, you have to be held accountable for it. And that's what seems to have happened here with this whole situation with Noah Gragson. I think it's very unfortunate that he did get caught up in a situation like this, because Legacy Motor Club, let's face it, just everything we've seen this year has not had a good year. And they're on their way to Toyota, which I think is going to really help improve the team and bring them potential. And I was really looking forward to seeing what Jones and Gragson were going to do, especially for Toyota to retain Gragson for next year. But just to move past something like this, it's just it's a hard thing. I mean, for example, someone like Kyle Larson, who is arguably the best driver of the last 10 years. I mean, he was fired by his team obviously something much worse than what we're dealing with here, but still like in a similar realm. I mean, he was fired from his team and remarkably came back. So, I mean, there's consequences to actions, especially when your actions affect millions of people and have millions of dollars involved with it. It's just such a shame for Noah, just seeing the rookie year that he's having, because I really think, they've even talked about it too. They're not getting the support from Chevrolet. So that means they're not getting the support from someone like Josh Wise, who's worked with these drivers so much to improve mentally and physically. And I know Noah's a very mental guy. And I can imagine the struggles he's having this season are really getting to him, and it reflects on track. And if only he had that support there. Now this has happened. It's just really a shame for Noah, because we know he has the talent. We know he has the drive, but just some of those mistakes and some of those things that happened, I think someone might see this, like his talent, and see it through and really work with him and, coach him back to the Cup Series or wherever he's going. But this is just such a tough road, and all we can do is honestly just hope for the best for Noah, and just hope everybody learns and everybody grows from it.
Yes, hopefully he'll take something as well. Anne says, love the background. Yes, also, it's the same one we had back at in month of May. It stayed on ready for this weekend, and it won't be going anywhere anytime soon, with the pagoda as well in the background. I think I can even do that now, and it's fine because the green screen's sort of very much already. As we've been saying, at the moment, we don't have a clear picture of Noah Gragson's future with Legacy Motorsport Club, but we do know he is going to miss the next 2 races at the IMS Road Course and at Watkins Glen as well. Legacy Motorsport Club, I keep saying that, Legacy Motor Club has turned to a road course ringer for the next 2 races. Garage 56 driver Mike Rockenfeller will make his return to the NASCAR Cup Series in the number 42 Chevrolet. This replacement doesn't come as a surprise at all, because Rocky built a close relationship with team co-owner Jimmy Johnson because of all the time they spent together working on the Garage 56 program that Hendrick Motorsports took to Le Mans earlier on this season. The race at Indy on Sunday will be Rockenfeller's 3rd career Cup start as well, after competing at the Glen and Charlotte Roval last year. And Jonathan, and then to Matt, for a team that's been struggling all year long, how important will it be to get a road course expert like Rockenfeller to evaluate where they are right now on these type of tracks?
I think it's pretty important. I don't know how good their playoff hopes are going to be. I mean, Eric Jones is way out of making it on points, but he is a really good super speedway racer, so they could get in through a win at Daytona. I don't know about the road courses, but going back to what you're talking about, getting a road course expert in there, I think it's always great to have somebody who's good on those types of tracks shake down your program and see where you're at. I don't know to what extent, though, just because they're going to be making so many changes over the off season as it is. But I don't think it hurts, because you can always build that notebook, especially with only a year and a half behind you. With the Gen 7 car. So they can build the setup notebook and get some notes and do some things. So it'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Rocky goes, especially at the Glen next week, where he has, as I said before, car and track knowledge. So, year on year, a go over, because it was with a slightly different team. But is it going to give them any boost in performance? I don't know. It will over these next couple of weeks, but we haven't got another road course race after these 2 until the Roval, so it kind of goes by the wayside a little bit. As Jonathan said, Jones has got maybe an outside shot at Daytona to get in on with a win in a couple of weeks in the regular season finale. Matthew says, I don't think anything else for the season for the 42 matters other than getting a team assembled price next year in Toyota before John Hunter Nemechek gets in, which is probably everyone's best guess at the moment to who would take that ride, now that Gragson is more than likely not going to be returning any time soon. One quick thing from the previous question that Jonathan mentioned about the Kyle Larson thing from during the pandemic, that was completely like a one-off. It was not expected from Kyle Larson. Noah Gragson has history of doing stupid bleep like this before, so I kind of one of those rolling on top of the hill, and the snowball finally went down the other side and has taken him away, kind of thing. So yeah, just Noah being Noah, as Matthew pointed out in his previous comment. It doesn't look like he's ever going to grow up. And as I said in, I can't remember if it was our chat or the USRN chat, that sighing noise you hear in the far distance is Dale Earnhardt Jr. going, "Oh, I'm so glad I don't have to deal with this," after he was a driver with Junior Motorsport, of course, for all that Xfinity nonsense of the last couple of years.
We can't afford a bleep machine at the moment, so if you want to help us out, the link to our Patreon is in the description as well. But in the meantime, I have the sonic screwdriver. If you want to just do it again, I'll just start beeping it like that again. I think that could work.
Man, I tell you what, that sounds like the alarm in my college dorm back in the day.
It's the new one as well. Look how shiny it is as well, the new one. And then it also goes like that. It was like a corkscrew. Anyway,
we need to create a platform called Buy Me a Bleep, not a Buy Me a
Bleep. Yeah, Buy Me a Bleep.
Yeah.
I'll just do like that all night. It's fine. Yes, it's got a red setting. I've been playing with it all week. It's fun. I'll put that back up there. Okay. We'll keep you up to date with all that latest story as well when we have more information here on the Grid Tonight show as well. Now, moving on to our second story as well. So we'll bring Kobe back in a few moments, and Jonathan will send you into the back rooms as well. Don't touch the ghosts. With the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship currently in the early days of the off-season, silly season is just getting started, with Jaguar TCS Racing officially confirming that Nick Cassidy will join the team next season. Now, during last week's show, we mentioned the departure of Sam Bird and the race reporting that he's likely heading to McLaren. With Cassidy leaving Envision Racing for Jaguar, this will form a new all-Kiwi driver lineup as Cassidy joins his fellow countryman Mitch Evans. Now, in the season that just finished up, Cassidy's Envision utilised the Jaguar powertrain, and now he's heading for the factory team. Cassidy said that he's looking forward to teaming up with Evans because they've known each other since childhood and raced against each other for years, and the photo courtesy there of Jaguar TCS Racing. Kobe, welcome back, and we'll start with you. Could Mitch Evans and Nick Cassidy enter next year as the best driver lineup in Formula E? And does Cassidy's familiarity with the Jaguar powertrain make his transition to Jaguar easier?
I mean, there's still a lot to be decided heading into season 10 with all the driver lineups, but it doesn't get much better than Mitch Evans and Nick Cassidy. Nick Cassidy had a chance to win the championship this year until the very end, and for him to be moving on to the Jaguar factory team now, replacing Sam Bird, I think this is a great opportunity for him to continue his success in Formula E and to have someone to compare yourself to like Mitch Evans. I think Jaguar has to be really excited about their chances of winning the team's championship in 2024. I think this duo could potentially win a lot of Formula E races, depending on what the parity's like next year, and certainly Envision using the Jaguar powertrain this past season, and then Cassidy obviously going to be using the Jaguar powertrain next year. I certainly think that's going to help make his transition to the team easier, and I have really high expectations for what Cassidy can do in 2024.
Yeah, this is the Kiwis taking over, aren't they? Evans and Cassidy, Van Gisbergen, McLaughlin, they're all at it at the moment. But this is, on paper, you would say this is probably the strongest driver lineup any Formula E team has had ever. I would suggest the way those two have been going over the last year or two. I've always had a keen eye on Nick since he was doing European Formula 3 5, 6, 7 years ago. Forged a career in Japan in Super League Formula and in Super GT, champion in both. And another man we'd like to see him in an IndyCar and see how he can go over there. But yeah, great to see this finally confirmed. It's been sort of doing the rounds in the background since before the Rome weekend, when Sam Smith from the race did sort of break that this was happening. So good to see that. And yeah, they've got the right colours, haven't they? The Jaguar team with the black and white, and then they've got two Kiwis driving the cars. So good to see Nick get this done. And he probably, I'm going to stick my neck out well in advance, he's my championship favourite for next season. And I know it's only August.
I think you've got a very good shout there as well. And Adam says, watch out, Formula E Jaguar wants the drivers and manufacturers titles. Perfect combo as well. They really are, I think, the strongest going in to the next season. But as Cassidy, oh, sorry, I thought the green screen was fading there. It's the Pagoda Tower. As Cassidy moved on to Jaguar, Envision Racing turned to a familiar face to replace him. After spending one season away from the team with Apt, Robin Frijns is returning to the Envision family. Frijns, his only 2 career Formula E wins came with Envision in season 5. In his only year with Apt, he wasn't able to do much with a non-competitive car. And also, don't forget, he broke his wrist at the start of the season in an accident in Mexico City. He now returns to a team that should take him back to the front of the grid. The graphic courtesy there of Envision Racing. Matt and Kobe, Matt, starting with you. Do you think getting the band back together was the best move for Envision going forward?
Yeah, it was good Frijns move. That he just hasn't had a good run at as you say, with just a poor car and injuries and whatever else. Been a lot of Robin Frijns news because he's re-signed to the BMW team for WRT for next season for IMSA or WET, wherever they end up. So lots of Frijns driver announcement news happening over the last couple of weeks. But yeah, good to see Robin back. He is a quality driver, always has been, and just a little bit unlucky with where he's kind of the musical chairs of Formula E fell for him over the last couple of years. But this is a sure sign that they can push on. And if the rumours are true that Sam Bird, if he doesn't go to McLaren, may end up next to him, if not Rene Rast, they're the swirling rumours that could be Frijns' teammate for next year. We'll obviously keep you posted on that on the show as the silly season rolls on, and it's plenty long enough as we wait all the way to January for the first race. So whoever they get alongside Robin, that'll be a strong team, you can be sure.
Yeah, we certainly have several months to go until the new Formula E season starts. I'm sure we're going to have multiple Great Tonight shows where we're going to be talking about all of these driver changes and all of that, and new drivers coming into the series. But I do think it was a good idea to bring Robin Frijns back into the Envision Racing fold. They're really familiar with him. They've had success with him. So why not bring back somebody who's familiar with the team environment, how everything's operate, rather than bringing someone new? And I'm sure a lot of people probably be wondering, maybe they should have waited out to see what happens with the driver market to try to get potentially a big name driver come in, but there's still time for that to happen as well. But I do think that this is a great move for Robin Frijns. I know it was very frustrating for him this past season running with that with a team that just didn't have a great car at all, and we all know what Robin Frijns is capable of in Formula E, and there really wasn't much he could do with the app car. So getting back with Envision, I'm sure he's very excited because he knows he can return to the Robin Frijns we all know, who's capable of scoring great points on a weekly basis, competing for podiums and wins. And I'm sure that's exactly what Envision expects to get when he returns to the team in 2024.
I just hope it's not allowed to get back together with an ex-girlfriend as well. And it's nice when it comes back and then all of a sudden the same cracks in the relationship start to appear as well. That made you realise why you stopped the first time around. It could either go very well or very badly. So it's going to be fun to see. Put that on the list of hots or nots as a future talking point, would you please, Matt? Okay, on to our third story of the evening then, and our hot topic, because the 2024 IMSA WeatherTech SportsCar Championship schedule was unveiled last weekend at Road America. There are several notable changes, starting with Lime Rock Park disappearing from the calendar, but there are hopes for IMSA Racing to return in 2025 after a year away. No changes for Daytona and Sebring, but Long Beach will only see GTP and GTD compete, while GTD Pro will get to run with GTP in the return of the Detroit Grand Prix. LMP2 won't join the other three classes at Laguna Seca, but they'll get to compete for the overall win at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. All four classes will be in action again at Watkins Glen and Road America, plus the GT-only race at VIR, as well as Virginia International Raceway returns, and the season ends in typical fashion with the Multiple Petit Le Mans as well. One of the biggest challenges is the addition of a fifth race in the Michelin Endurance Cup with a 6-hour endurance race at Indianapolis. Now, this year's Battle of the Bricks is only a sprint race, 2 hours and 40 minutes long. However, most people are upset about several major clashes with other sports car racing series around the world. The IMSA 2024 schedule will conflict with the 6 hours of Imola, clashing with Long Beach, 6 hours of Spa, clashing with Laguna Seca, and 6 hours of Sao Paulo, clashing with Canada in the FIA World Endurance Championship, including two crown jewel events. The 24 hours of the Nürburgring clashes with Detroit, and the 24 hours of Spa clashes with Watkins Glen. The graphic courtesy there of IMSA. Jonathan's back with us on the show now, starting with Kobe, though. What are your overall thoughts on the 2024 IMSA schedule And how unfortunate are these major clashes?
I'll start at the top where you mentioned about Lime Rock Park. That come to a complete shock to many, because if you watch the GT only race at Lime Rock just a couple of weeks ago, it was a packed house. You had so many fans there. Lime Rock is always a very popular destination on the IMSA calendar. It was a major surprise to see Lime Rock disappear from the schedule. But as you said, it seems like that both sides are hopeful that it'll just be a one-off year where the IMSA is not at Lime Rock, and in 2025 they can hopefully return, because that's one of the classic IMSA tracks on the schedule, and it'll be disappointing to see it go away for 1 year. And I do think it's interesting that the LMP2 class is going to get to compete for an overall win at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. That's something we really haven't seen yet with the IMSA schedule. Yeah, but for the most part, not really many changes on the IMSA calendar. Indianapolis is going to be a 6-hour endurance race next year. I know Roger Penske's really wanted a major endurance race at this track for a while now. Now he's going to get one, a 5th round of the Michelin Endurance Cup. And I guess when you're adding another endurance event, people start to wonder about costs going up and all of that. It seemed like for the longest time that 4 endurance races seemed to be a good number. Adding a 5th endurance race, we'll certainly be paying attention to the cost there. But the elephant in the room, as you mentioned, Josh, the clashes, you absolutely hate to see those happen. I know in some cases, they're just unavoidable. And I was reading an article with SportsCar 365. I believe it was Porsche and BMW who were the ones who have been most vocal about being upset over these clashes, because their resources, could be spread thin across the globe. And then you have your factory drivers who will be competing in these events, but you also want to have them in the 24 hours of Spa and 24 hours of Nürburgring as well. So with these clashes now, you may not be able to have all your best drivers in these events, and then the drivers and the manufacturer are going to have to pick and choose, like who races where and misses out. Yeah, but unless they make some changes to a schedule, whichever series decide, if any of these series decides to make a change to the schedule, I really wonder what's going to happen next year. I just know that these clashes really left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths.
Yes, not good. And IMSA has a habit of, and have done for quite some time, getting their schedule out pretty early this kind of time of year. It's always at Road America, where they were last weekend, and they get their schedule out for the next season. And their dates don't change. There's no NFL-style flexing of dates. Once the calendar's out, when the race is. They like date equity. That's the phrase that's always bandied about. When the race is coming to town, if you're local or whatever, if you're in the Road America region, when the date's going to be. VIR has been staple for a fair few years now. Shame to see Lime Rock going away, as you mentioned, Kobe. It's going to be interesting to see what the FIA do or not do, because they surely they'll have to do some jiggery pokery with the WEC schedule. But then everyone wants to stay away from Formula One
and Formula E.
And Formula E as well, which is there's a gentleman's a good point, Josh. There is an agreement between WEC and Formula E not to clash, but everyone wants to stay away from Formula One. But when Formula One's running on 50 weekends out of 52, or so it seems, then there is going to be inevitable clashes. And I love a good calendar release. Always spot them and get them in the spreadsheet and on the Word doc to see what we've got coming up. And as soon as I put those in, it was just like, another one. And then there's Nürburgring and Spa as well. It just, really, really frustrating. And not just frustrating for the fans, it's for the teams and the drivers that want to plot their year. These guys are the guys making money from this. And if they can't get the rides and things like that, it really does take a toll on them, these pro factory drivers. Adam says Lime Rock always hosted an IMSA GTP Series race on Memorial Day weekend. Won't be the same without that legendary road course. Yeah, absolutely right. And that's their big event of the year for that track. They've really only got those and Trans Am going there as a big A-class events throughout the year. And the IMSA weekend was definitely the Lime Rock's biggest one, all the way back through the American Le Mans Series days as well. So, and all the way back to pre-IMSA back in the 80s and early 90s. So real shame for that. One other nugget from the calendar, which wasn't on the graphic, is there's going to be a Michelin Pilot Challenge race at Mid-Ohio as a standalone event, which Mid-Ohio wasn't on the calendar at all for any series this year in IMSA. So that's come back. So that's going to be a nice one. Looking forward to Indianapolis 6 hour. Is anyone going to try and do the Indy 6 hour and Indy 9 hour race double and see if they can do the Indianapolis sweep in endurance racing next year. That's going to be a little driver nugget to look out for. I'm sure we'll be talking about it when we get to Endurance Performance Index at this time next year.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned the whole change with Lime Rock not being in the schedule. I think that's really too bad. Like Adam was talking about, it used to be a Memorial Day weekend tradition, a classic race, and I think that's really too bad. I don't know if it was the scheduling, because I know from what I've heard, Lime Rock has to schedule around a nearby church or something like that on a Sunday. So that's also a big thing with the two, but really a shame to not see that on the schedule. Also, too, I think what's interesting is when the IMSA cars go up to Canada, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, I'm looking at the schedule here, July 12th through the 14th, looking through. Yeah, that is the only Canadian stop, and you're missing the GTP car. So I think that's really unfortunate. But otherwise, I mean, you look at the schedule, it's like you could say some things, but also not. But yeah, Lime Rock, really a shame. Canada kind of getting hosed of the GTP cars.
Absolutely. Now, I'm just checking my email here because I got reminded actually as well. Matt, did you get your email for the Sandringham Flower Show? Because it reminded me about having to go around a church and organise it as well. I got an email. It's the 31st of July, 2024. That's the next one. So it's next year.
Okay, excellent. Good. I'll put it in the doc.
Yes,
Thank you for that.
Yes, we do love our Sandringham as well.
Well, I'm going to Sandringham in a few weeks' time. So,
are you really? Oh, very nice.
Yes, we are going to see Robbie Williams at Sandringham on Bank Holiday weekend. Looking forward to it.
Very good.
Should be good. I'll put a note in to say that it's going to be covered. The full hour show will be covered by the Grid Network.
Oh,
brilliant,
man.
yes.
Robbie Williams, Bank Holidays. We got 2 Brits in here. Can you tell?
Yeah. Do you know? There's another thing actually as well about Sandringham as well, because you've been around the house, haven't you, Matt? Where it's because it's where the Queen and
not
the King
been around the house.
Not been the house. I have been around the house. It's fantastic in there. Really is fantastic. It's so beautiful as well and so classical. I highly recommend it. But yes, it was a little side story before we throw it to you, Matt, for Hearts and Knots. We went there for the Flower Show 2009, and we sat watching Punch and Judy, and there's the Queen's grandchildren just next to me as well, just chatting and playing around as well. Completely funny day as well. That's the things you get up to. We're British, of course. Somebody knows the royal family. Anyway, it's now time to throw it back to Matt as well for the latest in the Grid EPI update.
Yeah, thank you, Josh. Yes, we'll put the crowns on, forget the bunting out, wave the flags and all that nonsense.
We're
talking about IMSA. Yeah, exactly right. Talking about IMSA, so we'll start the EPI update for this week with the IMSA results from the Road America race at the weekend, where they had a record attendance, which is great to see. So that date is definitely not moving off the calendar if they keep getting the fans flocking through the gate. And they got to see a Porsche win. Matt Campbell and Felipe Nasr bringing home the bacon on Sunday afternoon for Roger Penske. So that's both Penske Porsches that have won races now in the championship. LMP2 was won by Ben Keating, because of course it was, because he can't stop winning every time he touches the car. His co-driver was Paul-Loup Chatin. LMP3 was won by Guy Robinson and Josh Burden. Ross Gunn and Alex Riberas winning in a GTD Pro, and Brian Sellers and Madison Snow winning in the GTD class. Also at the weekend, a very soggy Nürburgring saw the DTM visit for a double header over the weekend. Mirko Bortolotti getting his first DTM win of his career on Saturday, and then Maximilian Paul getting his first win in the championship on Sunday. And Super GT was at Fuji, a race which featured rain, 2 fires for 2 different cars. Katsumasa Chiyo and Mitsutori Takaboshi coming through to get their second win of the season overall, and the GT300 class was won by the trio of Ryoichiro Tomita, Kiyoshi Ishikawa and Yusuke Shitizo. So they were the winners in GT300. So let's give you the graphic then of the updated standings for this week in the EPI. Brendan Hartley is still the leader as we wait for the next WEC race, which is at Fuji in a couple of weeks' time. One change in the top 10, and that is Chiyo-san and Takaboshi moving up to 6th and 7th overall after their win at the weekend. Otherwise, it is pretty much the same as it was. Antonio Garcia and Jordan Taylor just hanging in there in the top 10 in the Corvette team. So that's that. couple of other notes. We're now 90 races into this Endurance Performance Index, would you believe? We've still got over 50 to go before the end of the season. And Lucas Stoltz has competed in a third of those scoring races. He's 184th in the standings with 31 starts to his name from the 90 races that we have put into this championship. Lila Radu is still the top female, 290th in the standings. So that's the top 50. It's going to be a quiet weekend this weekend because we've only got 2 races to score from, and they happen at Queensland Raceway for the latest round of the GT World Challenge Australia, their penultimate round of the season. They have to wait all the way till December to get their final round in at Adelaide when they support supercars there at the end of the season. So pretty quiet weekend. We shouldn't see any top 10 changes, I wouldn't have thought, unless something absolutely drastic happens down there at QR at the weekend, and we'll give you the results of that and an updated score on the show next week. Back to Kobe for the rest of this week's news.
Thanks, Matt. Next, more motorsports news from around the world. After impressing the entire NTT IndyCar Series paddock last weekend in his series debut at Nashville, 2022 Indy Next champion Linus Lundqvist is getting another chance to compete with Meyer-Shank Racing. Excuse me. Although Lundqvist's debut ended with a crash into the wall, he was quick in practice, made the Fast 12 in qualifying, and mixed up with veteran drivers on the Mid City streets, with Pagenaud continuing to recover from his wall ride at Mid-Ohio, giving Lundqvist another chance. Seems like a no-brainer. And also, speaking of Meyer-Shank Racing, they're going to be having a press conference later this week to discuss their 2024 IndyCar program, so stay tuned for that. And speaking of Pagenaud, he released this video yesterday, his first words publicly since he began his recovery.
Hello everyone, I wanted to give you a little message from the house. Unfortunately, watching the races from the couch is not much fun, but you know, I'm recovering. It's taking longer than I expected, but I have an extremely good medical team behind me. The IndyCar medical team has been tremendous, and we're going to do this the right way. So I'm being patient, but it's certainly taking some time. But you know, it's great to see Linus doing so well for his first time at Nashville, Meyer-Shank Racing. I look forward to seeing you guys together at the Indianapolis Grand Prix, which is one of my favorite. I wish I was there. And I can tell you I'll do everything I can to be back 100% very soon. I look forward to seeing you back at the track. Bonjour.
Yeah, so right there from Simon Pagenaud, we definitely wish him well as he continues his recovery. Front Row Motorsports exercised its team option to bring Michael McDowell and Todd Gilliland back in 2024. Team owner Bob Jenkins said both drivers are like family to him and seems pleased to have the team continuing to improve its performance each week. McDowell is currently competing for a spot in the playoffs, and we've seen several solid performances out of Gilliland this year. Front Row Motorsports also plans to bring back its NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series program as well in 2024. However, Zane Smith currently exploring other options across the NASCAR National Series, but a return to Front Row next year has not been ruled out yet. And before we head on to pick a winner, got some news that happened during the show that we're gonna share. Greg Van Alst, you might know him as the ARCA Menard Series winner at Daytona earlier this year. He's gonna be teaming up with Young's Motorsports to drive the number Chevrolet Silverado for the remainder of the 2023 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series season, beginning this Friday night in the T-Sport 200 at Indianapolis Raceway Park. This is going to be a home race for Greg Van Alst. He's really looking forward to this. And in the press release, he said he's very appreciative of this opportunity with Young's Motorsports. Ever since he decided to downscale his ARCA program, he was wondering what the rest of this year would look like. And now he's found an opportunity with Young's Motorsports to race to race the remainder of this season in the Truck Series, and we'll see what that brings for Greg Van Alst in the graphic you see on the screen, courtesy of Young's Motorsports. Now I'm going to throw it over to Matt for everyone's favorite game, Pick a Winner.
Certainly your favorite game, Kobe, because you're still top of the tree, and there is the standings as if by magic, and he's 2 points clear at the top of Matt and Alex, with Ed now 6 points back in fourth. I'm in fifth, so just creeping up the standings there, but still, 8 points away from you. No one's going to catch Kobe this weekend because, they might do, but it's unlikely. We've only got one race to pick from on the show tonight, which is tomorrow night's SRX race, and I'm going to go with a massive curveball. He's had a terrible year in the Cup Series. I've got a funny feeling Chase Briscoe will win tomorrow night.
Chase Briscoe is a great pick, Matt. And I'm actually going to go with another driver who's had quite a year of struggles in the Cup Series. Give me Austin Dillon to get it done at Eldora. He won the inaugural Truck Series race quite a handful of years ago here, and I think Austin Dillon is due for something good to happen. And a win at SRX at a track he knows really well, that should serve as a positive boost of morale for him as a driver. Before turning over to Jonathan and catch up on the chat right quick, Ben said he's really happy to see Greg Van Alst get a program for the rest of this year. And Matthew Owen said you can't wait for the IRP race on Friday night. It's probably the race you're looking forward to most all of them. And yeah, there's certainly a lot of hype for this IRP race, the playoff season opener for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, and also a multi-time Supercars champion is going to be making his old debut. Shane Van Gisbergen driving the number 41 Worldwide Express Chevrolet Silverado. A lot of people are going to be really excited to see what SVG can do on an oval track.
Very exciting. Well, you guys were talking about drivers who have not had very good seasons this year in the NASCAR Cup Series. Well, this guy hasn't had a bad season in the Cup Series, and he hasn't had a good season in the Cup Series. Want to know why? Because he's retired from the series. Tony Stewart is going to get it done in his home ballpark track.
And obviously, Pick a Winner will continue through the weekend with the Indy GP and NASCAR at Indianapolis. You'll be able to get your picks in throughout the weekend on all of your social media platforms of choice. It's time for Hots and Knots. Jonathan's back, so he can join in on this one this week. I'm going to start with two immediate hot. I'll start with my hots. I don't normally start, but I'm going to start with two immediate hots from what we've just heard. So great to hear from Simon Pagenaud, and he looks like he's doing well. Unfortunately, not cleared to go back in the car, but great to hear from him. And great that Greg Van Alst news is cool, because we talked about him scaling back his ARCA program, 5 or 6 weeks ago on the show, and now it looks like he's got himself shored up for the rest of the year in the Truck Series. That is hot. Also hot, he's styling, he's profiling, he's stealing kisses, he's limousine riding. It's Devlin DeFrancesco. That was cool to see Ric Flair at Nashville at the weekend with the Woo car. Shame that Devlin didn't get a good result. Hot was Linus Lundqvist. That was great. Just shame he ended up in the fence late on. Actually, the IndyCar race was pretty good, considering we all expected it to be a yellow fest. I know Josh was looking forward to the chaos. I know. And one of them was the full start at the beginning. So, good Nashville. Let's hope that continues into next year when they change the track and we get more proper racing rather than crash fests. WRC Finland at the weekend was excellent. Elvin Evans got the victory after everyone around him fell off the road or broke down. His second win in Finland in the last 3 years. Not bad for a boy from the Welsh Forest. And also there is a IROC race breaking out on Sunday at Indianapolis in the Cup Series. It's going to be excellent. And no one's talking about Brody Kostecki. Look out for Brody Kostecki at the weekend.
I want Josh to go ahead because I saw him responding.
I think that is my list of hots. I'll go to Josh next.
All right. I did enjoy Nashville. It was a very good race, but I did say during the commentary at several points, what is going on? Because we had one caution lap 24 for a gearbox failure that ruptured the rear wing, which I picked up on that in the commentary box. I was so happy when it was proved right, because we couldn't work out how the wing had failed. And then I saw the fire, and we saw the replay. It was going over the bumps, and I said in commentary, I reckon he's gone over the bumps and he's downshifting when he's on the bumps. I reckon it's broken the gearbox, like it shot one of them straight through, and that's what's done the wing. And it's exactly what happened. Bang on. So I was very happy with that. So that's my hot. I do might know my knowledge. But what also hot was the fact that the last 10 laps, as it did every other year, went absolutely crazy again, which was great because we needed a red flag. You wouldn't be Nashville without a quick red flag. So that was fun. I'm glad that happened because in every year in the last 10 laps there's always been a stoppage. And Herta in the wall again. He just can't keep out of it, can he? It's at the same part of the track as well. 3 years running now he's touched the wall, and twice in those 3 years it's put him out of the race. So, yeah, very naughty boy. The other hot, of course, was MotoGP. I think that was a stellar weekend of action at Silverstone. I won't spoil it too much because I know Matt hasn't seen it just yet, but there's a Mosquito flying around. Go away. Yeah, so that MotoGP race itself, the middle of the day, where it started to rain and all of a sudden the top two that were leading out front closed up with a four-way fight for like 10 laps. I thought, yes, it came out of nowhere. Epic race, epic race. So yeah, that's my two hots from that weekend.
Ooh. All right. Well, my hots, one of them I think is RFK Racing. Wow, Chris Buescher, 2 wins in a row. If you had told someone that, maybe, I don't know, even last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, they wouldn't believe you. Like, that's great success. And we've always known Chris Buescher's a great racer. He's a champion. He beat Chase Elliott for the Xfinity Series championship. But, man, I mean, to become one of 21 drivers since 1998 to go back-to-back, and you're talking, like, those 20 other drivers are 15 Cup champions. A driver with 50 wins, Denny Hamlin. Carl Edwards, who's up for the Hall of Fame. You're talking about Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Greg Biffle, great drivers who have been able to accomplish this feat, just like Chris Buescher did. That bodes well for his future, especially RFK Racing. They're contenders. That's a big hot. Martin Truex Jr. is another hot. I don't want to be cliche and go with the top 2 in the Cup Series, but really, truly, I mean, it was remarkable just seeing Truex bust through the field like he did in Stage 2 to get that stage win. I mean, if you're betting in Vegas right now, if you're betting on Martin Truex Jr., you may not win a lot, but you will. I think you have a very good chance of winning. He looks fired up, ready to go. I think he's absolutely the title favorite right now. Are we going to do knots, or are we going to go around the room again for knots?
You can start. You can kick off your knots, Jonathan, while you're in full flow.
All right, let's go. All right. Well, another hot, I think, is John Hunter Nemechek as well. Riley Herbst as well for gaining on the bubble. He had a really great race, really good job. I also want to back up the hot about Linus Lundqvist. Great effort, great job. Kyle Kirkwood as well, great on the street courses this season. And then we're going to get to some knots. I think you look at the Xfinity Series race for Justin Allgaier. I mean, he had a screaming fast car, just like Martin Truex Jr. did, and just so many mistakes. And this has happened so many times before the season where Allgaier's had great speed, but he didn't get the result because of mistakes. So just mistakes by Allgaier. I think that's a big nod. Oh, the elephant in the room. We'll just say Noah Gragson and just leave it right there. I know we've addressed it. we'll leave it right there. Not also, I mean, 2311's pit crews and just what is going on? It just seems like Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, they have these fast cars and these great performances. They get to pit road and just completely peters out. It's absolutely disappointing to see. And then I'll end on a positive note because I like to do that. Hot, Eric Jones, great run amid like a really crazy weekend for Legacy Motor Club.
Deja vu. Deja vu.
Deja vu?
Severe deja vu. Even to the text message I just received. Yeah. It was like, I was thinking, I've heard all this before. I hate it when that happens as well. That's the first time that's happened on air, though, in a long, long time. Matthew says, I already knew this, not the fact that we're getting set for a third racing round this Indy Road course. Hopefully this will be the last, at least for the Cup Series. Hopefully we'll be back there to where we belong next year. Yes, the Brickyard 400. Hot Michigan. Love everything about Michigan. Track delivers it time after time. Just a glorious racetrack. Really was a good one as well when we got going again on the Monday. Right, Knots. ITV Sport. Not showing the British Grand Prix live on free-to-air after scheduling it. Rightly so, they dropped it for what I thought was going to be live women's football for the World Cup. No, Community Shield. The one thing that no leaping person cares about in the UK is the Community Shield. So, yeah, that could have been on ITV4. But they completely dropped live coverage of the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. The other knot is Silverstone. I don't think it works. It's a great racetrack for MotoGP. It's great. But the fans, it looked miserable this weekend. They've changed the start line. Not every fan knew about it. So the main start line, Hamilton Straight, looked very bare. And everything down at Cops Corner looked very packed because it was on the opposite start line. So not everybody knew about it. And it didn't work. Coming through Maggots and Beckett's, it's just miles and miles, empty grandstands. Cops Corner, empty grandstands. It didn't work. And I hate to say it, but I think we should maybe either A, grow the sport, or B, go back to Donington. Because otherwise it's a poor image. You see all the other tracks that we go to on the MotoGP calendar, absolutely crammed in, packed. Come here. I think, what was it? Where are we? Indonesia had an attendance of over 300,000 across the weekend. MotoGP only had an attendance of about 140,000. That across the weekend. That's 1 day average in Formula One. It was really poor, and I think MotoGP does have a massive image problem now in the UK, and it's not being helped. TNT Sports have done their best trying to flog Discovery Plus and all that lot, and to come watch it, but it's dying. The sport is dying, and it needs new breath into it.
Yes, Matthew, the Community Shield. Yes, they bumped the British Grand Prix for motorcycle racing got bumped for a City Arsenal penalty shootout.
Yeah,
at Wembley on Sunday. As you say, haven't caught up with MotoGP from Silverstone at the weekend, and you're right, they do need to do something about it because it is labouring with no British riders in the top class, and it not being on free to air like it is in a lot of places around the world. It is really struggling. But I do have a MotoGP knot, and actually a Moto2 knot.
Oh.
It's from qualifying on Saturday. Now, Jake Dixon, the British hope, was on a good lap, but he fell off at Club, which is the final corner, as we know, at Silverstone, where the start and the finish line is right on the exit of the corner. And as he crossed the line, he was not in contact with his motorcycle because he was going across the gravel trap. And of course, the timing line runs across the track and across the gravel trap. So he ended up, I think, 11th on the grid, where if he stayed up, he would have probably been on the front row.
They docked him to 15th.
The grid was then amended, not because he wasn't in contact with his motorcycle and he was dropped free plate, I think it was a row, to 15th, but because he broke track limits, because he was across the green, not because he wasn't touching his bike, because he was off track limits. It's a massive knot. First world problems knot I have, which is all these cup races on Sundays that get delayed, just screws up my podcast listening for a Monday. And then that puts the whole week of podcast listening way out of bonk. I know it's a first world problem, but I'm going to throw it out there.
I'll tell you that as well. I agree with you on that because it's like, well, what on earth do you do? And also trying to watch them in the UK, it's really difficult. Really difficult on a Monday.
Yeah. And again, they didn't put it up on YouTube until today. So I had to go searching in the back door of the internet to find the end of the race.
Yeah. How was the back rooms, Jonathan? Not too scary, I hope.
Not good.
Not bad.
Stay out of there.
Bad, yeah. Honestly, I could even say as like the American who NASCAR is catering to, or like,
yes,
it was even bad like having the race on Monday because like I got busy at work and then like I was like kind of watching it, but I couldn't really watch it, and then like doing content for the racing experts has ended up just it's a cluster, absolutely.
Also, I forgot the standing hot, so I'm going to throw that in now. The return of A1GP. It's a standing hot. We need to mention it on every show until the end of time, and/or next December when it starts again, hopefully.
And when we'll be in the commentary box.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be there in Eastern Creek or at Taupo or Durban or somewhere. What about another knot for Matthew? 3 p.m. start times on a Sunday and then 12 p.m. start times on a Monday. I know they want to get people home, get the race done, and get people home on a Monday evening back to the Charlotte area, but it's never made sense to me why races start earlier on a Monday than they do on a Sunday after a rain delay. And I think that's all of my there wasn't many knots this weekend. It was pretty quietish weekend. We're going to have an even quieter one this weekend, really, because we've only really got Indianapolis.
We needed a break.
We did. We've also got British touring cars and British Superbike for us over this neck of the woods. Rob Huff back in VTCC announced today.
Yes, that's good. That's very good news.
Just I think it's only for a one-off at Knock Hill. It's how I read the release.
It's not even the British Touring Car Championship this weekend. It's the Scottish Touring Car Championship. It's the only one we go to in Scotland. So
yeah, this is the IMSA trip to Canada. This is the British Touring Car trip to Scotland for the weekend
also,
at Knock Hill.
the production value just goes downhill because ITV Sport get dealt with the worst technology. Literally last year it was a pair of 20 quid headphones and a very broken lit mic. And then they, what was it? Tim Harvey had one of those normal headsets, but didn't have a sound card. So, hang on, where's my mic? He sounded like this the entire time as well, but all that time. Awful. Really hate it. It's like if I can have professional equipment in my commentary box and I've got no budget, they can do it. It's just, it grates on me. It really does, because I can hear them through my ears without my commentary as well, because you can hear the track noise, but I can hear them in case I need to throw down to anyone in the pit lane like Louise, or if it's Formula 1, Ted Kravitz and all that lot. It's one of the several voices I hear in my head all the time. And some of them don't even tell me. Yeah. But it's really annoying. It's really, really annoying. That's enough. I will have to record. I'll have to find a way to record what I hear in my ears over a weekend and put that out.
Like Jake Humphrey did that time.
Yes, it's exactly that. Find it on YouTube. Everybody after this show, because we're nearly wrapped up, go type in BBC F1 Jake Humphrey's vlog from, I think it's Singapore 2010.
Yeah.
And everything he hears in his ears, that's exactly what I hear. I give it everything coming through. Sorry, I should have given my headphone warning. Yeah, sorry, Ben. It's exactly what I hear during the thing, because I hear from the commentators in the comm box. That's me. And then if Megan's alongside me, she's there, she can talk to me. Matt, when we commentate together, I can hear you in my ears all the time as you can hear me. But then I also have people in my ears who aren't on air, but are behind and say, like, I've got something to tell you, all this lot, give me information. I can hear the Sky feed coming in, so I know when to throw down to an interview. Say it's pre-race and I've got the same little ears and I've got now. I'm hearing from my two pundits. I'm hearing Natalie Pink and Will Simonese be presenting. And I'm also hearing the F1 TV feed in one ear. So I'm listening to so many different things trying to host the show because it's so confusing. I'll do a vlog on it and get it sent out. It's amazing. And that's something that Matthew Owens is going to have to put up with next year as well, if he does end up doing some of the, NASCAR Cups on the YouTube stuff like YouTube will be doing. Yeah, you're going to get on the channel, Matt, next year.
Yeah, we need to get that sorted. Definitely get something.
Now we know the calendar.
One other thing to mention quickly before we go. It might be a hot, it might be a not, depending on what side of the fence you're on. But Supercar silly season has absolutely gone crazy this week. With the potential rumor that Will Brown is going to move from Erebus to Red Bull to take SVG's seat when he leaves, and there may be some news on that tomorrow. I'm not telling you to listen to the Dale Jr. download, but Shane's the guest, and it's released tomorrow. I think that's
I'm downloading it now. I'm just getting it on now, actually, that podcast. So just making sure it's not because it's tomorrow for us now. Okay, so take a... Yes, it's not. Yes, I was just double checking. Is it in the UK? It hasn't.
Yeah.
I've been this. Yeah. Yeah, it's not. Right, okay, I need to be quick now. Taking a look at our upcoming schedule, of course, Saturday, Grid Live pre-race, that is at noon Eastern. Sunday, Grid Live wrap-up is 90 minutes after the NASCAR Cup Series race at the IMS Road Course. Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, Grid Live Encore, a full recap of ARCA and trucks at IRP and Xfinity at the IMS Road Course, and more. Okay, so please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you for helping us reach the milestone of 650 subscribers. Now help us reach our new goal of 700 subscribers on the road to 1,000. And don't forget to hit the notification bell to get all notified when we post videos and go live, and follow all our social media platforms and visit gridranking.com. Take 5 minutes to invest in Grid Network through Patreon. Join Colin, Martin, Joshua, Robin and David investing each month in the Grid Network. And we encourage you to join the amazing group of people who keep us on the air. And once we hit $500 per month, we can start expanding our coverage by adding new members to the team and having our team on site to cover more races. The link to all of that is in the video description. And if you want to do a one-time donation, you can become the Buy Me a Coffee link, get your name on the board and invest as much as you want, and consider buying a specific on-air personality a cup of coffee, and they'll thank you on the air. For Matt White from Grid Endurance Performance Index, Kobe Lambert from the Podium Finish, and Jonathan Field from the Racing Experts, I'm Joshua Birch. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Good night.
Thank you for watching us right here on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos, including Life on the Grid, where we interview folks from the motorsports industry. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.